Hey everyone, this is Dwayne Pinnell coming to you from Transwest Truck Trailer RV in Belton, Missouri. And we're going to do a little twist today, something different than the norm by taking you around and showing you our coaches. Those can all be found online at www.transwestrv.com. And again, my name is Dwayne Pinnell, DWAYNE-PINNELL. My phone number here is 816-892-5938, or you can always call me on my cell at 816-516-5312. And just as a reminder, we are looking for really nice used vehicles. If you're in the market to sell yours, we'd love to talk with you about it, either your RV or your truck. We're looking for both. You can use me as a contact point for that if you'd like to start that process. And we're looking at market values and things of that nature to try to give you a fair assessment for your coach and the money that you deserve for it. And we thank you for that. Today we want to talk a little bit about our facility and what our facility has to offer and some of the things maybe you should do as an owner of an RV as far as maintenance and upkeep. We've got a great service department. We actually have two sides to our service area here at Transwest in Belton. We have the house side, so that area that we work on, those living quarters in your RV. Things like your pipes, your bathroom, some of the fixtures, electrical items that may need repaired, things that are the house air, if you will, those air conditioners on the roof. We might be installing solar panels. We might be servicing your AquaHot or your Oasis systems. We would be doing oil changes, of course, in the chassis shop, doing generator service. And those are all things of normal maintenance. And just going to go through a list of those things that you should consider whenever you're thinking about your RV and how to keep it in tip-top shape so that you aren't broken down on the road. Nobody can predict the future and what's going to happen, and certainly those things will happen. But you can try to do your best to ward against those things by doing some routine maintenance. Some things are going to be more frequent than others, but still something that you should keep a keen eye on as far as taking care of your RV and that very, very high dollar item that you live in, you work in sometimes, you do traveling across the country, and you enjoy it very, very much, and we know that. And we're here to help in every way that we can. So with reference to service recommendations, you should have a scheduled service for your oil and oil changes. Now, the gas engines are going to require a more frequent service than typically the diesel engines. But the thing that you should consider also is the type of oil that's being used in those. And sometimes you can use a standard oil in your engine. And with that, you probably should change the oil a little more frequently. And I'd ask you to follow your manufacturer's book in order to determine what that timeline is or the guide is that you should be using there. But if you're using a synthetic oil, then you might be able to push that out to a longer time frame before you're coming in here at the number of miles where you want to get that fuel or excuse me, the oil changed in the coach. And if you're not using that coach very frequently, if it has sat for a long time, particularly in the winter months, and it hasn't been turned on, that engine hasn't run, and that oil going through that engine to lubricate it, probably ought to change it a little more frequently than maybe even the manufacturer's manual suggests that you do so. So just try to keep a heartbeat on that particular item because it can be huge and big, and you want that engine to be running at a top and premier level so that you're getting better fuel economy going down the road, saving yourself a lot of money whenever you're out and traveling about. The other thing that we should look at always is the roof maintenance. So you have a lot of gaskets and seals around things like air conditioners or vents, and there are different types of roofs, as you know. There's a fiberglass roof as well as the TPO roof. There are rubber roofs, and the TPO rubber roofs are going to be somewhat similar, but with the degradation of the sun, it can be very, very harsh on the roof of those vehicles. And it also depends on how you store the vehicles as well as to how frequently you might want to have that roof check. And those are items that we can do here. Those are services that we offer for you so that you don't have to climb on the roof. We have the access to them with tall ladders, and we're very, very equipped to do such. So allow us to do that. But again, you ought to consider those things at least once a year, or even better, twice a year, because water can be a huge item that will damage your coach very, very severely, and you want to do everything that you can to ward against that. With reference to your tires, I went to a training school at one of the major chassis manufacturers, and one of the things that they said was the most important thing that they probably would say going down the road is check your tire pressure each and every time that you're getting ready to go out on the road, and certainly if you're going to go on a long trip. It is critical to make sure that those tires are inflated to the proper amount, proper PSI, and that they're not overinflated. Of course, you get expansion with those tires whenever you're in the heat of the summer, and you just want to make sure that those are healthy and in great shape. Check them also for cracking on the side walls, that they're not showing their age if they're several years old, and maybe the time to replace them. The tread on the tires is very important also. And if you have the ability, or maybe you have a tire pressure monitoring system, you can keep a better heartbeat on that. Those are kind of things and services that we offer also, where we can actually install those on your vehicle. So you might want to consider that if it's something that is important to you, and it should be important to everybody, because the safety, your safety depends on it going down the road. As far as brakes, that would be another secondary thing regarding the chassis that would be very important, to make sure that you've got the right calibration on those brakes. You've got the certain number, the level of pads that you need on the brakes to stop that vehicle when it's more critical for you to do too. And again, it's one of those things that you can't predict. So you just need to make sure that you've got the health in consideration of the brakes for the vehicle that you're driving. And then the batteries. Batteries are very frustrating for some owners because they don't keep them healthy. Keeping a battery healthy is very important to your use and enjoyment of the coach. If you're in a situation where your battery is going dead all the time, it could be because it's gone dead, and then you've tried to charge the battery in full, and then you're allowed to go dead and charge it in full. And those things are very hard on a battery. So you need to make sure that they're topped off for the flooded batteries. Those are the services that we can provide. We can install new batteries for you. We can also check the batteries for their good health, and see how much voltage you're getting out of those batteries, so that you're able to use all of those features that are on your coach in the most appropriate and proper way. And again, not to be in a situation where you've got a dead battery again, because those things can happen. And that's why it's important to save yourself a little bit of grief by making sure that those are healthy. Water heaters. Talking about that, we're talking about making sure that they're working properly, that they're not a fire risk. If you're using propane to heat up the water in a coach, or LP, that you've got everything as far as any leaks taken care of, that we can detect those things for you. If you have any kind of suspicion that something like that may be going on, make sure everything's shut off, bring it to us and allow us to do that testing for you. Those are kind of services we offer also. And as far as your slide maintenance, slide's another thing. If you have a slide room or two, or maybe even 3, 4 in your coach, you need to make sure that all the seals and the gaskets around those slides are certainly sealing tightly, so you don't have a lot of air coming in or escaping the coach if you're cooling it down. And as far as cool air camping, making sure that you're not getting a big draft coming into the coach and fighting against the heater that we just referred to. So we can service those things. We can put new gaskets around those, check all the seals, and we can also put some dry lube on them, make sure that those slides are operating correctly also, so that they're moving in and out appropriately as they should be. They're not seizing on one side and loose on the other side, so you get a little bit of cockeyed movement on those slides. And again, those are all services, and our technicians are great. We've got several master technicians here, and those that aren't have been in the business for some time now, and they certainly know what they're doing. And we would put them at your access in order to look at your coach, and from their keen eye and things that they see regularly and every single day. And then the furnace service would be like that of the water service, just to make sure that it's fully functional and operational in the way that it should be. If you've got an AquaHot system or an Oasis system, if it's a Newmar, making sure that the oil is changed in those, that they're getting the appropriate amount of service. And those should be serviced at least 2 times a year also, just to make sure that you're getting in a nice rotation with reference to your maintenance where those are concerned, and that all the fluid levels in those are right, that they're working appropriately and operating correctly in the coach to either heat up the coach itself or to give you continuous hot water while you're out and camping. And then hail damage. We're in an area in Kansas City where we get a lot of storms both in the early fall time or late summer and also in the spring. We can get a lot of hail here. And if you're in an area where you've either been in hail or where hail can come frequently, that's something as far as your RV, if it's staying outside or you're actually subject to it because you're camping and you've had some hail, you need to have that checked sooner than later. If you turn in a claim for hail damage on your roof, your insurance company is more likely to work with you better than if you wait a prolonged period of time, come back 2 or 3 years later and say, hey, I've got hail damage on my coach. If it's fresh, as far as the claim, they're more likely to work with you. And make sure that the service company, if it's not Transwest, and we hope it is, that is looking at your coach, work well with your insurance company so those claims can hopefully be paid for you, and we can work with them well. We do that here all the time, so we'll want you to reach out to us if that's a possibility for you to do so. We'd love to have your business where that's concerned. And then finally, we have a lot of cold weather here. A lot of snowbirds here who actually head south for the winter months and go somewhere where the climate is much more mild and comfortable, because we can have some extreme temperature swings here where we're getting freezing, less than 32 degrees many days in a row, and sometimes single digits or even below zero. So if your coach is going to be in that sort of climate, you always want to be sure that if it's subject to that, then you're not you don't have the heater on in the coach and the belly is not heated, that you do have that coach winterized. And we have several different levels of winterization. Those things that you need to consider when winterizing is to make sure that all of the water is evacuated from those lines, that you're able to run antifreeze through there. They would bypass things like the water heater and the filter on the coach in order to do that. But the other things like the washing machine, your dishwasher, those need to have consideration so that you're not going to have the cold freeze what remaining water could be in those items. And just again, a lot to think about, a lot to consider. That's why we're here. We can guide you through those things. We do have checklists that we can offer to you so that you can consider many of the things that I've just talked with you about today. And again, Transwest offers all those services. The other thing is, as I mentioned the chassis shop earlier, we do have a chassis shop here at Transwest in Belton where they can work on the chassis for the coach. Now we can work on Spartan here, and we can work on the Powerglide chassis, and then we have access to Freightliner service very close to us, and we can coordinate that work with them on your behalf, so that if you have a warranty recall or something like that, you might want to consider reaching out to them or reach out to us, and we'll see if we can coordinate some help with you for getting that coach service. Thank you for your time. We're not going to finish the video here because we're going to walk around our facility just a little bit. We're very proud of it. We've got a very nice, clean facility here. And if you've ever had the chance to visit us, we hope that you thought so as well. And if there's an issue, we'll want you to bring it up to us, because we want it to be as nice for you as it possibly can be, and always make it better than we leave it hopefully the day before. The other thing is that we're going to drive around the lot also, so you can get kind of a real straight-on view of what our property looks like, how much room we've got here to put your coach in a gated lot when it's ready to go into service, or if it's been completed, we can put it there until you're able to pick it up within a day or two, so that it's again behind locked gate. And we would just want to show those things to you briefly. So thanks very much. Come back to you here in a few minutes. So hello everyone, it's Dwayne again. Here we are at the entrance to our property here in Belton. As you can see, we've got the great big Transwest sign here. It's very visible from 49 Highway, which is the traffic noise you hear here. From the south, we get the traffic. They can certainly see our sign. And from the north, which is where downtown Kansas City is from us, they can see the sign when they're headed south. So as I said, we're going to take you around the property. We're going to get on the golf cart here and just kind of show you around a little bit so you can see, if you ever come to us for service, kind of where things is and the lay of the land, so to speak. Come on along. So here we are entering the driveway, and as you can see, this building on the left, it's the one that was here first, and it used to be an old bus barn. Now we've got a very, very nice facility. They've recently painted it, got the nice Transwest truck trailer RV sign up there, and that would be the truck sales building as well as our chassis building in the back or to the north. We have some of the office staff there for trucks, and also just the general business office type personnel in that building. We've got truck parts there, as well as again the chassis service and all of the personnel associated with that. As we turn the corner and go here a little bit, you can see we've got a newer building. This building opened in about June of 2016, and it's the RV facility. So the RV sales personnel will be in this building. Again, we have RV parts here, we have RV service here, and we'll step inside whenever we get back into the facility from the back, from the service area, and kind of show you how everything is coming from the back to the front this time. Rounding the corner here, you can see we have a lot of garage doors here, tall enough for any of the coaches that are out there. And there are 18 of them. We've got the parts bay there, but these are all for service for the RVs and again for the house side of your coach. And they clearly go all the way through, although because of the congestion inside and because we're servicing vehicles, most go in from this side and also back out from this side when we're doing service. And we have a wash bay here in number 18. So if we have any units that are needing a little bit of cleaning or a lot of cleaning, that's where that would occur. A lot of the employee parking here, maybe we've got coaches that are either waiting for customers to pick them up or going into the detail bay. They may be waiting here for parts that we need before we put them out on the lot for sale. And as we're rounding the building here, we see a lot of coaches. Many of these are customer coaches that are waiting to go into service. We may be waiting on parts, which there's a lot of that going on now with a lot of the manufacturers being backed up and backlogged and bottlenecked and so forth. But on this side we can see again some more service doors, and it's just a very, very, very nice facility. To our north, our owner owns the property, as you see that way. We've got some of the tank trailers back there that we do business on, and more of our units, some that need to be plugged in because they've got the high performing batteries. The King Airs have 16 batteries. The new ones have 2 sets of lithium batteries, so those generally are better if they're plugged in, and so we try to do some of that along the fence right here. We do a lot of service for some of the local municipalities, both their city trucks, maybe their dump trucks, any other service trucks that they may have that are heavy duty. We have diesel mechanics in the chassis facilities, so they would work and repair on those type vehicles as well as on the RVs that we service here. So we're going to break and we're going to go inside now, and as I said, come from the back of the building in the service area, kind of show you what it looks like in there, back up to the front where we'll find the service counter and our parts department and our sales. So now we're inside the service bay. As you can see, we got the technicians here scrambling around and working on coaches. I should say that as we go toward the front, I mentioned the parts for the counter in the front, which is for our walk-in customers, but we also have a parts counter in the back for our technicians. So if a coach needs something that's either under warranty or we just need it for repairing a coach, the parts counter in the rear that actually works very closely with our service personnel back here, they would place those orders with the manufacturer or the resource where they need to get those from. So our foreman is right here for the shop. He kind of helps the guys with scheduling their time back here based on the number of hours or what it's going to take in order to repair or fix a coach. And again, this is where those services that I mentioned in the inside video, the roof, the oil change would happen in the other building, but checking those things like the gaskets and seals around your air conditioners or your vents or the electrical that I mentioned inside, those things would happen here in the living quarters of the coach. And again, all chassis related items would happen in the chassis side service area. So we're going to walk toward the front now, and we'll end up in the lobby, and I'll just kind of show you around there, and then we'll end for the day. So we're getting ready to go to the front, and we'll pass our service parts counter in the back here. A couple gentlemen there who man the fort there. And then on the right side, we've got our warranty manager. She'll handle with the warranty items with the manufacturers for the coaches that we sell here. And they're probably busy or maybe on the phones. We'll not interrupt them too much. We'll just walk through. This is the parts counter for the service side. And then we've got some office personnel here. Again, our warranty manager and just some other offices for the staff, our parts manager, our service manager here. And we're going to step into the actual main area when you enter. So this is our building from the inside. It's very nice. We've got all the parts displayed out here in the center of the floor. And to my right, your left, is our service advisors. So they would write up tickets if you come in. They're going to go look over your unit. Typically, they'll take a video of the unit to make sure that there's no damage when it comes in, just so that you know that it's the same way that you left it when you pick it up, which is what our goal would be. For our customers, you have a nice waiting area here where they can hang out for a few hours or maybe for a few days, depending on what the breadth of the issue is that we're trying to deal with. Got some refreshments, some beverages here that they can get out of the vending machine, some snacks that they can get. We have coffee here. And mentioned it before, but I'll mention it again. Behind the door over there, we even have a laundry facility. So if someone's displaced from their coach while we're working on the inside, they can bring their laundry in and have something to do and try to keep up with that instead of just sitting here doing nothing. But sometimes sitting doing nothing is just okay as well. We got the nice TV with great programming, tons of channels that they can watch whenever they're here. Magazines we try to keep around so they can entertain themselves, read some articles, and a lot of them are RV related also, so they can kind of keep abreast with what's going on in the RV industry. There are several RV clubs that have an article or magazine, and so we try to keep those out so they can kind of keep up with what's going on there. And maybe they have an interest in a different brand than they've had before, and they can learn just a little bit more about what's going on in that brand as opposed to what they currently drive. So come on out. We have sales offices here. Our receptionist is right here, and she greets everybody that comes in and tries to move them in the right direction. Maybe they're here to set up a service appointment. Maybe they're here to check in for a service appointment. Maybe they're here to buy parts for their unit. And they can do the work themselves. They would come to our parts counter, which is on the far side over here, and they check in there and try to see if we can help them. Maybe it's something from a catalog we're going to have to wait and get for them. Maybe it's something we have in stock. Most of the things we have stock we'll have out on the shelves here. And then the salesmen along the walls over here, all the sales offices. We have our finance team on the far end, and our service managers down there as well. Nice restroom facilities. And we hope you'll come and visit us, whether you need service or not, but hopefully you'll need service or parts. We'd love to help you. Maybe you need a new motorhome. I hope you'll call me. Again, I'm Dwayne Pinnell, 816-516-5312, and my email is dwayne.pinnell@transwest.com. Thanks so much for your time. Have a great day.